Hello everybody, this is Jasmina, and in this video I'm going to talk about a method called shifting palace. Now a palace is just a pillar. I don't know why they decide to call it different things, I guess just to confuse us, but that's all it is. And there are actually a couple methods, and I've seen two of them so far. And one is really not used anymore. It was used largely for relationships when people don't necessarily know exactly when they were born, even maybe even which day, because they kind of just had this, general idea they were born at home. There wasn't a lot of government recording, so it's if your mother could remember, and that was it. And and so it's not really used anymore. And even the video I watched that talked about this stated that it's much more accurate to actually use the two people's um, actual batzas. That will tell you a lot more about the relationship than trying to use the shifting palace. Now there is another type, and I'm not 100% sure if they have maybe an extra name associated with them, but it's still just called a shifting palace. And this is the one I'm going to cover here. It is uh, it is a shift in focus, whereas here you actually changed something in one of the pillars. You don't change anything here, you just change the focus. So your luck pillar has a relationship to all of your natal pillars. Um, and this is what basically we're shifting the focus to different parts of your natal pillars. That's what the shifting palace is about. But the one that you see when you get your chart analyzed by anybody who puts the 10 God labels on the different areas of your chart, that is the relationship to your day master. And the day master is the primary one, and the day master represents you, and that's why it's the primary one. Now, during any luck pillar, you can advance the skills or talents that that particular uh, 10 God, or they're often called stars, give you in any area of your life. So if, for example, the friend star comes in through the luck pillar, you can improve your relationships either with your bosses, your colleagues, your spouse, or your kids. You can decide where to do it. There's a difference when we go to the other pillars. When you're in the different pillars, let's say the year pillar, then you're basically, if a friend star shows up there, where you're using the heaven stem of the year pillar as the focus, then you can really only improve the relationship with your bosses and or maybe with the public in general. So uh, this will all be covered, but it's a shifting of focus. Now, when your DM, your day master, is the focus stem, you can use any stem, both the heaven stem and the hidden stems, in your luck pillar, and you can tap into those energies. The heaven stem is a bit easier, but I shouldn't say easier. Other people see it a little bit more readily. Whereas if you're tapping into the hidden stem, then you have the talents, you have the things, but maybe people don't notice so much. When we shift palaces to other ones, you can only tap into the heaven stem because it's just too hard to tap into the hidden stem. Now, if you've watched my entrepreneur chart video, you will know that you can use your luck pillar to fill in any one of your missing 10 gods or missing stars. They're the same thing. People just tend to call them differently. I think stars may actually be more accurate in terms of a translation, but if you use Joy Yap, you're going to see 10 gods. And so this, if you have a gap that you either have a very low value or a zero value of any of these stars or 10 gods in your natal chart, you use your luck pillar to fix that. Now, the entrepreneur chart video was focused on basically IW and DW because those are the two most important talents or skills that can enable you to be a successful entrepreneur. But you don't have to do that. If you don't want to run a business, there's no worry about this. And honestly, I never had any intention in running a business either. I just never was terribly interested. But here I am. Now, you can use any of your luck pillars to enhance a missing or very low level star, or even one that's higher, like an average one. You can make it pump up to a higher level. And that whatever skills you gain in that luck pillar, you keep afterwards. You can even improve a little, but it will be a lot harder if you're not using your luck pillar. And in general, whatever you get, you keep. Maybe you lose a little here, maybe you gain a little there in that skill, but it basically keeps with you. Now, I'm going to investigate a random chart because this is not somebody I know. I don't even know, maybe if you get really lucky, this will be your chart. But I wanted somebody much younger than I am, but has a chart that has certain potentials, so that I have something to talk about. So I did about 4 random dates, and finally this one came up as a good one. Now, before we go to that, this is from an old video. So you've seen this chart before. I actually literally copied it. And this is how the stars are determined. Now, this is like in the chart you'll get from Joey App or any of these other ones that do a basic analysis. And so we're talking about how it's related to your daymaster. And so the friend is the same element, same polarity. Rob Wealth is the same element with the opposite polarity. So these are all opposite polarity on the right, and on the left is the one with the same polarity. Polarity is yin yang. You know, if you have a yin daymaster, this will be a yin it'll be the same as your yin daymaster, and so forth. And so we have the companion stars, we have the output stars, the resource stars, the wealth stars, and the influence stars. So that's the order of these. Now, this table will tell you what your natural skills that come from your natal chart, because they're using the DM. And this will be, if you look at your natal chart, they all have one of these things. Sometimes they'll put an F on the daymaster, but it's kind of irrelevant if you do. It is the friend, but it is also itself, and that's the focus. But anyway, this also will tell you what talents you can access during each luck pillar, because it will do the same thing with your luck pillars. It will put a label somewhere close to that element of what that skill gives you. Now, here is tells you exactly what it gives you. So the friend helps with better interpersonal skills. You tend to be more caring and improve your empathy for others, and it tends to also really improve relationships within the family. And with the Rob Wealth, it's basically more of an ability to give and take. So there's an increase in networking skills because you're more willing to help somebody else, and then they help you, and it just keeps going. And these two together are quite important to be able to deal with people, obviously. Now, the output stars, this tells you about your creativity, and that's especially true with the eating god. It is creativity, maybe an output with what you do with your hands, but it doesn't have to be. It can be ideas. It's understanding different viewpoints, being more adaptable and flexible, and able to to deal with changes in your life. And there will always be changes. So this is a very good one to have. When you don't have this, sometimes you don't, it's hard for you to accept change. So Um, or let's say it bothers you. You may accept it because you know it's going to happen, but you don't like it. Whereas the HO is a little different. This is the herding officer. It helps you improve your communication skills, and it improves your ability to sell or convince people of your point of view or whatever. Uh, the This is very, very useful in business, of course. Um, if you want to run a business, this is a really good one. But you also have to have at least a little of this somewhere so that you aren't just copying everybody else, that you're coming up with your own ideas. So these two in general are very, very important in life in terms of being able to have something where you can earn money from. Now, of course, it doesn't take it for everybody. I mean, there's a lot of jobs you can do without this. But the more it has to do with selling, the more you need at least the HO. Now, the resources, this is the element that produces your daymaster, or it will be whatever pillar we're looking at later. But the IR, the indirect resources, is more about logic and more of a philosophical point of view, but a logical one. And it also is better at problem solving with people. And so you are maybe better able to understand people so that you kind of know how to approach them. And maybe you can figure out what will make them tick or make them decide to do something. And so it's not really manipulation, it's more like tapping into their desires. Now, the direct resources is more about analytic skills, like in math and science. It still has to do with logic, but here you're dealing with uh, more symbols and things like this. So it's like solving equations and analyzing data. And this helps with improving your decision-making skills. So if you have trouble making decisions, you need more DR in your life. And when that comes in your luck pillar, you really have to tap into it. And so this involves a lot more easy problem solving. And that is problem solving in terms of like math and science, but also in things that don't have to do with people. It could be fixing a piece of equipment, or designing a better something that already exists, or even designing new things. But if you want to design new things, you need EG and DR. Now, the two wealth stars, the indirect wealth is more the ability to earn money yourself or in a small company. So you're more self-reliant. You tend to have a broader skill set. And whereas the direct wealth is basically you're better off in a larger company, or even maybe not better off, but you are capable of working in a larger company. Whereas somebody who has a lot of IW and no DW, a large company, to them, it's the job there is almost pointless because you're going to have to do tasks that, well, that are just part of the job, but they don't seem to have much meaning to you. You know, you're not 100% sure why some of this is being done sometime. But somebody who has a good amount of DW, they're more dedicated to doing the task, even if they find it boring or they don't like it. They do it because they know it needs to be done, and somebody has to do it, and they're willing to do it. So there's a more of a different point of view. So these people are more dedicated to the job, whereas these people are more dedicated to a product, or you know, not so much, okay, I'm just this little cog. That's what DW is. This is, I'm the company. Although you might not be the company, but you're going to be one of a small number of people. Whereas here you're going to be one of a large number of people. So it's a different point of view and a different tolerance. And then we have the two influence stars. The 7K, this gives you more physical energy. It also gives you more drive and also higher levels of confidence. So this is a pretty important one that everybody should have at least some of this. And when you don't have this, uh, especially when it comes to self-confidence, this can be a problem. And so when it comes along in your luck pillar, you should really take advantage of it. Now, the direct officer is better organizational skills. I mean, these people are just better organized. They're less scattered in their thinking, and they're more on point in discussions. So if you have somebody who is like a DO and this is your boss, when there's a meeting, he doesn't fool around. He goes right to the point. It's usually very good to have a boss with DO because they don't tend to be too scattered. They have a focus. You don't have to worry about them changing next week. I mean, unless something huge happens in the world, then everybody might have to shift. But in general, they're they think about everything before they decide on something. And once they decide, it's usually a good decision. So it's and one other thing, they tend to also be quite organized in terms of making sure all the what they say all the I's are dotted and the T's are crossed. You know, they don't they don't let things just kind of get missed. Now I can actually see that I mean I know I am missing the HO, the DW, and the DO in my chart. It just there's zero. There's not even a low level, and I've always had issues with speaking, even as a kid. So, uh, but I was lucky enough to be able to have speech lessons. Otherwise, I'm sure I wouldn't be able to do this right now. That is, create videos and narrate them. The DW, I will admit, I never envisioned myself working in a large company because I just thought it would be a very boring job where there's no creativity involved. That's that is, my biggest issue. There's no creativity involved. And the DO, I will admit, I'm not the most organized person on the planet. I rely on my memory, which is actually quite good. I have gotten more organized in this business because I've had to, and I can do it when I need to. But it's to me, it's extra work. But it makes it easier later. So yes, I have learned. Yes, there is a reason to be organized. Finally, and actually, I have a DO in my current luck pillar, so it's it seems to be working. Now, this is the date and time of birth of the random chart. If you want to, you can stick in this information and find a more colorful chart than this one. But you will see this is what it says. And of course, the focus is the Daymaster, which is right here. It's the heaven stem of your day pillar. And so this is why it's a friend and why you have all these different labels. And that's the relationship with the Daymaster as the focused. Now, what is missing from this chart is IW, 7K, and EG. So when these come along in the natal chart, this is a really important time to focus on them so that you can increase that piece of you or that the skill set that you have. And of course, you're going to keep it. And that's really important. It's almost like it goes into your natal chart. It doesn't really, but now this is a skill that you have and you'll keep. Now, this chart is not fully compliant with an entrepreneur chart, but it's close. All that's needed is the IW, a luck pillar that has an IW in it. And this is one of the reasons I chose it, so I could give you another example of an entrepreneur chart. Now, this color coding comes from the entrepreneur chart video. The green is the wealth star, that's the W here. The pink is the output, that's the herding officer. And the purple is the influence, which is the direct officer here. And the circled one, this is RW. You also need RW. So this person has everything they need and a very, very strong a month pillar, which is the most important pillar, and they, but they're missing the IW, and so that is what they have to wait for. Now this is the current luck pillar, and this I wanted somebody in their 20s so they have something to look forward to, and so we have to know what is IW with respect to the yin wood. Well, it is yang earth. I mean yin earth. So here it is. Now, this person went through two luck pillars where they have it, but when they were very young. They did have a chance to perhaps create a business when they were a teenager, but since this is in the hidden stem, other people, let's say, didn't really think they had what it took. That is, this is actually a man, that this man had as a teenager what it took to actually run a business. So people, they say, okay, you're saving for college, we'll give you, we'll let you do this job, but they don't really believe he's an entrepreneur. But he doesn't have another one until he's 56. That's one of, this is the strongest one. If it can be in the heaven stem, it's really super good. But he's here. He's still a long ways away from here. And but this doesn't mean this is useless. In fact, if he's missed these, because they're past already, if he's missed these and didn't take advantage of them, he has time to make up for it. And he can be really well prepared when he hits 56. And there is, and this is his sixth luck pillar. If you remember, the sixth luck pillar can be quite tricky. So it's kind of good he has another way out, because oftentimes that's when you lose your job, because you tend to be paid more than everybody else, or a lot more than the average employee, because you've moved up. And when the company gets into trouble, they're going to fire some of the more highly paid people first. Now, in the current luck pillar, we can look at the herding officer, which is what this the yang fire is, with respect to the yin wood daymaster. And basically this is, again, influencing. Influencing when it comes to a customer is basically, if you can watch a person's face as you're talking to them, you can see when something, is of interest, or when they're bored, or when they're not happy with what you're saying. And if you adapt to that, you can actually become a better seller. So, and some people just have a sales pitch, and they're not always able to reach people. But if you actually can interact with a person, you can really improve your ability to influence people. Now, here, this person does have some DR in his chart, but it is kind of on the low level. This would be a very good time to take advantage of the DR here, which is learning more analytical skills. This is really important, especially if you want to run your own business. You have to be able to do a certain amount of analysis of how much you're going to charge for your product so that you can make money. Otherwise, it's pointless to own a business if all you do is lose money. Now, the next luck pillar, he has EG. Now, if you remember, he's missing this from his chart, his natal chart. So this luck pillar is extremely important to tap into this EG. And it's in the heaven stem, so other people can see it. His bosses may actually help with this. So EG, of course, has to do with creativity. So you need to do something that helps improve your creativity, especially in creative thinking, so you can, quote unquote, think outside the box. And but a good way to do that is doing something creative. Anything that appeals to you in terms of the arts, that's good to do. More experiences, new experiences, travel, education, all these things can increase your creativity, because you get to see different ways of doing things that work. And that really can stretch your ability to tap into it when it comes later. And that's a lot of creativity. Now, sometimes people are just plain creative from the get-go and they don't have to work at this. This person is going to have to work at this a bit, but this is the luck pillar that they can really tap into it and greatly improve their ability to be creative. And that's a pretty important thing. Also, this person is missing the 7K. So this is an extremely important luck pillar for them. They really need to do things to help improve their self-confidence, and they stand up for their beliefs and their point of view, and it can be in any part of their life, of course. But this makes a more competent person in general, because that means they've thought about things so that they can defend them. I mean, this, and you know that at least this is right for you. Maybe it's not right for everybody, but you know that this is right for you, and you're willing to defend it. And that's really quite important, because otherwise you're too easily swayed by others. Now, the next luck pillar is still good. Now, this is right before the luck pillar with the IW. So here, this is where you're going to be able to use your skills that, now this person already has a lot of DW. So they don't have to work very hard at this. But here, they're going to apply it to what do they need to do to make a business work, of their own, that is. And so they need to have a very good idea for a business. And of course, they should be thinking about this the whole time. This pillar here is maybe where they will come up with what they want to do. It'll probably get modified a little bit here, but they will have a good idea what they want to do, and now they have to figure out how they're going to get it done. And the DW does help with this, because this helps you basically make business work. That's basically what DW does. Now, we also have more EG and 7K, so they can keep some of this that they've gotten here. They can reinforce it, which is very, very good. Now, we also have DW here, but they already have a lot of DW. So they have to, I mean, they don't have to work very hard to get the DW. They've already got a lot of it. But now they're going to focus on a certain area. But the EG and the 7K are still very important, and I would keep up with the skills that they learned here and try to stretch them a little bit more here. Then, this is the luck pillar. What they need to, the best thing to do is get everything prepared in this luck pillar so that when they enter this one, that they're ready to start the business, right away. That's certainly that first year when they turn 56. They need to start. Now, this is the real age that we have, the way we record it in the West. That is, you start at 0 years old, and the first year, after 1 year, you're 1 year old. So Joey Yap's thing, this would show as 67, because they're talking about the Chinese age, which is confusing to some people, but this is the real age. And the Chinese Metasoft site actually puts dates down, and it's the real age. That's why we know it's true. And this does come from the Chinese Metasoft site, but I don't take screenshots because they're copyrighted, so I have to recreate all this. So what I just showed you was really the day palace, the standard way of looking at a BaZi chart. And there, the day master is a focus, and you look at your interactions of your luck pillar with really just the day master, and which represents you, if you remember that. And of course, then you can apply the skills you learned during that luck pillars, the various ones you have, to any aspect of your life when the day master is your focus. But in the shifting palace method, we change the focus element. We don't look at the day pillar anymore. We look at the year, the month, and the hour pillar. And we look at the heaven stem in those pillars. And this is basically the shifting. You're shifting the focus. And there's some things are different than if you're looking at the day master, but the same rules for the relationships are there. They don't change. But what does change is if it's in your year pillar, it can only interact or modify the interaction with what the year pillar represents, which is, things like your ancestors, the living ones, of course, and your boss, maybe your boss's boss. It could be your customers. It's somebody more on the outside, not someone usually that you have a close relationship with. So, uh, so this is what, so if it's in the year pillar and you've got a certain something, it can only affect that. It can't affect everything else. It won't like affect your kids when it's in the year pillar. If you have the focus on the day pillar, then it could affect your kids. So it's shifting of focus and shifting of what can be affected. And in the shifting palaces, you can only use the heaven stem of the luck pillar. When we were looking at the day master, you could also use the stuff in the hidden stem. So there's another difference. Now, the reason why we only look at the heaven stem is because the hidden stems are just too hard to activate on these other pillars in your chart that isn't you, that is not your day master. So you have to understand, what do these pillars mean? So like I said, the year, this can be your ancestors. It could be your parents too. Of course, you're probably close to both your parents and grandparents, uh, but they're in an older generation. They look at things differently. So it is a different kind of focus. If you're a politician, this would be the public. If you are in a business, this would be the customers. But if you're in something that, this also means your boss and your boss's boss. So you can tap into any one of these things when the year pillar is the focus. And I will show an example. I think it'll be a lot clearer when you see the example. But when it comes to the month, of course, that has to do with your career, the job that you do. It can also refer to your coworkers, your friends, and your siblings. So people that are roughly in your generation or have the same kind of job that you do. Of course, the day pillar isn't used because it's the standard focus. So you it doesn't make any difference because you already know this. I just went through it. And then the hour has to do with your ideas, your children, your investments, and if you are a business owner, your employees. And if you are even if you're in a career, this could mean the people who work under you, that is, the people you're responsible, if you're like in a manager or similar position. And again, this all is the same relationship-wise. You just replace whatever instead of day master, put in month heaven stem or year heaven stem or hour heaven stem. For every time you see DM, just put that in. So that is what we mean by focus change. I just don't have room to put in all that in this table and have it still be readable. Now, I have a set of charts. You probably should take a screenshot of this. And this is the key to understanding how to do the shifting palace. Now, if you know the relationships really well, you don't need these tables, but most people do. So here I'm going to start with the yang stems. The next slide will be the yin stems. So you're not going to miss anything. But if you have a yang stem in, let's say we start with the year, this is what you're going to look in your natal chart. Find your natal stem here in your year. And then you look at your luck pillar, the heaven stem of the luck pillar is for your, let's say you're a wood day master. Do you have a yin or yang earth in the luck pillar? If you do, then it's going to be either direct or indirect wealth. But if you're a fire daymaster and your luck pillar is earth, this isn't the relationship. So you know that that's not what it means to your year. And so this is why you need 10 charts. So again, you can take a screenshot if you have a yang wood, I mean, sorry, a yang stem as a year pillar, month pillar, or hour pillar. You should take a screenshot here. This is the yin version of the same set of elements. And again, this one on the left hand is your natal chart. This is what you see in that given pillar. And you see whether or not you have the corresponding elements over here. Now, you might have noted that these two columns are reversed for the yang stems. It's just the way it works. And that chart of relationships should make it clear. So if you need to, take a screenshot here, but I'll go on. So now this is for luck pillars that we represent output. That first one was the represent wealth. So again, we have the same set of yang stems, and now these are different. So let's say we had the yin fire. Remember I talked about that? If we had the yang fire and we had the earth, well, this is what it is. The last one, if you were a wood daymaster, your your earth would be your wealth. Here, if you're a yang fire, your earth is your output. I think that, so it's the same relationship, but this is how you're going to look at it. And the example will make it clearer, so just hang on. This is for the yin stems. Again, if you have a yin in any one of your pillars, you should take a screenshot here. And then we go on to the influence. And so if we're looking at earth, well, you would have to have a water in one of the pillars for the earth to be listed here. This would have to be in your natal chart. And since we keep talking about earth as the luck pillar, well, this is where it would turn out. It wouldn't be for fire, it wouldn't be for wood, it will only be for water. And for each set of pillars, you're only going to have one of these relationships. I think that probably is clear for at least some of you with a decent amount of DR in your chart. And we'll go on to the yin pillars. So again, things just flip. And again, if you have a yin pillar, take a screenshot. Now we go on to companion. Now this is pretty easy. It's just the same one, and then it's the same element opposite. This one is the one most people can remember. And it's pretty easy. And remember, we talked about what these things mean. So you may have to watch this a couple times to get everything to make it make sense, but it'll make sense. And then this is for the yin pillars. There you go. If you have a yin pillar, please take a screenshot. And then we go to the resources. This is the last of the bunch. And so remember, we were looking at earth. Well, only the metal would be able to tap into the resources here. So that is how it works. Each one only has one. Now the friend star, or the friend luck pillar obviously went with the earth. I forgot to say that, but it's pretty obvious. So you're only going to have each one of these sets of data, or each one of these luck pillars will only represent a certain thing for one day master. And so then I'll go on to the yin stems. And here is the yin stems. Of course, if you have one, take a screenshot. Okay, so now here's the nitty-gritty. We're going to look at your current luck pillar and see what the heaven stem is there, and see the relationship first to the year pillar. And you're going to only remember looking at the heaven stems of both your natal and your luck pillar, as we already talked about that. And then you're going to take the same steps for your month and your hour pillars. And that's what I'm going to be showing you. And of course, the month and hour pillars relationship affect different parts of your life than your pillar does. And of course, the month and hour are different than each other too. So this is the charts again, just to remind you what they are. I've cleaned off all of the relationships because we're now got a different focus. What was done by all the other people only refer to using the yin wood as your as the focus point. And so you might have to write this down separately on a different sheet because you're going to have, otherwise it gets very confusing because you've got already some of that stuff written down and it can get quite messy. But this is what we do. We look at the natal chart and we look at the year pillar, the luck pillar. And this is a friend relationship, obviously, with the year. And so if we would be looking through our chart, we already know it's going to be a friend because it's the same thing, but there it is. So you can look through all the charts for your particular element, whatever you have here, and you can see what the relationship is. Now, what this means, remember, what does the year mean? These are people like your customer, your boss's boss, your parents, your grandparents, maybe the public, depending on your job. But here, this is where you can enhance your relationship with these people, and therefore it's going to improve your networking skills, and it's going to improve your connection. Even if you're not networking terribly well, you're going to be able to network with these people, and that is actually extremely important. So this person this year, they are, in this luck pillar, they really need to try to connect better with their the superiors in their job and in their life. Now we do the same thing and we look now at the month. Now this is DW. They already have a lot of DW. You can use this to become a more efficient worker. That is usually helpful, and that will really be helpful later when you want to do a business of your own. If you do, not everybody does, but if you do, you can also, it can tend to make you more interested in your current job, whatever it is. And so this is really good. And the more interested you are in the job, the more energy you will have. That's just the way life is. So this isn't a bad pillar to use. But again, they already have a lot of this skill, this particular person. So this may come naturally without any effort. And then if we look at the hour pillar, now these two have to do basically more with work. This one has to do with things outside of work. So here, if we look, we have the wood here. What does the fire? Well, it's an EG. So, and remember, this person doesn't have EG in their natal chart. So this is a really good thing to use this particular luck pillar, the remainder of it. This person in 2024 would be 28 years old. So they still got quite a few years left in this luck pillar. And this is where you want to try to increase your creativity even more and experience new things, try new things, just be open to new experiences. And of course, this would be an okay time to have kids if you want to have kids, but it depends on where you are in your job, if that's smart, and where you are in a relationship, of course. But this isn't a bad thing. This is actually pretty good because this is creativity in the area where you have a lot of ideas. So this is a really good luck pillar for increasing your creativity, and it's focused on the ideas and of course other things too. But here, focusing on the ideas is the really important thing. So this really can make up, plus those other two the stuff that I talked about earlier with just the heaven stem, with just the Daymaster. This person, by the time they reach their 56 luck pillar, the number 6 luck pillar starting at 56, they will, if they use it right, they will be quite creative because they will have improved their creativity basically in all 3 luck pillars leading up to that. So this is how you can really improve your life if you know what to focus on. Now, the next luck pillar, of course, you're going to have to change your approach and tactics, and you're going to be gaining maybe different types of skills. And of course, these skills will come in handy when you want to run your own business. And of course, I'm assuming most people do. Doesn't matter if you do or don't. The thing is, the 6 luck pillar can be a little bit of a challenge, and you may end up having to run your own business. You don't have a choice. So this is one thing to consider. So now I've replaced the 3rd luck pillar with the 4th, and now we have ding instead of bing. And the relationship is right here. It is still part of the companion, but now it is the Rob Wealth. And this is basically here you want to concentrate more on giving people help, especially your superiors. And this will come back later to improve your life. So it makes it easier for you to give out and not necessarily expect something back right away. But in the end, it will come back. It just will take a little longer. So when we look at the month pillar, since it's water, we look here, well, it's an indirect wealth. You're going to be quite tempted to start your own business at this point. The timing's not really right, but you could perhaps start a small business, small really side gig and just something in your free time, which probably won't be a whole lot, but you can at least start if you really feel like it. But actually, the best use is to actually find people who are running their own business and you talk to them about it so you can see the challenges that come up. So you want to be talking to them about how they're running their business. Not necessarily, don't ask them detailed questions about what the product is because they may think you're trying to steal their idea. Ask them things like, what is the biggest challenge in running your business? Or how hard was it to start? How did you decide to run, like let's say, how did you decide to run the LLC? Why did you choose that for your business model or your business type? Because there's several things you can do. One is sole proprietor, but that involves its own things too. So people choose different things, and it depends on their situation. So anyway, it actually is also even really good to talk to people who've had failed businesses and ask them why they failed. What was the missing piece? Now, they might not be able to tell you, but some probably will. And so this is a really good time to talk to other people who are running their own business to see what challenges they faced so that you have a better idea of what you're going to have to deal with when you get there, when you get to that 6 luck pillar. And then here we have HO. Now this man already has HO. So he can maybe become a little bit better at this. It gives you a little extra boost. And especially when it comes to influencing others of your ideas. And this is why, this is in the hour pillar. That's why it's with the ideas. So this isn't so much a product, this is an idea. So it gives you a different way to learn how to sell. And I think this is a useful thing. So that is the 4th luck pillar. Let's move on to the 5th one. Again, you're going to have to change your tactics, what you're doing, to take advantage of what's in your 5th luck pillar. So now we go here. We have the yang fire here as the focus, and this is the luck pillar. Well, this is under the eating god. So this time, now remember, this has to do with your superiors. This is the time to ask your superiors, how did they come up with an idea for a new product or a new something? How did they create something that the business actually uses now? If they were the ones who did it. So these are the ones you have to find, the people who actually made some changes that improved the business and that you're currently working at, of course. But you could do this with people outside too that are also business owners. Kind of hard to find them, because you're talking usually larger businesses. But you can ask them, what kind of process did you do? Because remember, this person does not have an eating god in their natal chart. So they do have less of a natural skill at creating new things. But here, you're going to be talking to people who are quite successful, and you may be able to learn something that will be what you can use. You can use it in a similar way. And so the more people that you can talk to that do have successful businesses and usually have been in business for some time, that you can see how they use their creativity to improve. And this is the kind of thing this model is the kind of thing you want to follow because they're able to, grow their business. And when we look at the month, now this is yin water. Well, this is where the earth shows up. It shows up with DO. Now this person already has a decent amount of DO, so they don't need too much. But here, always becoming a little more efficient in the day-to-day tasks actually is very good because it gives you more time to think creatively, and it gives you a more of an ability to uh, have time to actually think about what kind of business you want to run. And you don't have to look like you're doing that at work, but at least you can have a little free time if you are more efficient. And being efficient is really important when you're running your own business. So this so you want to ask your coworkers, is there an easy way to do this? Can I do this faster? Maybe you talk to the tech people if you work on the computer a lot. But you're going to be asking people that are at your same level, more than your bosses, that is, how to do things more efficiently. And you may gain some really good skills at this point in time because it kind of enhances what you already have. Now here with the hour, this is actually really nice. And now I didn't choose the chart for this. I just wanted a chart that only needed one thing. And so this turns out to be a really, really good chart to give you as an example. Now remember, this has to do with ideas and all this kind of stuff. Here you're at the point where you're only one luck pillar away from, it's the one right before you hit the time when it's the time for you to start your own business. Here you're going to really, really think in great depth what kind of business you want to run, exactly what kind of products you want to present or sell, and get some really solid plans going, written on paper, plans that you can follow. Really, really create. It's like, okay, you want to have this done by the time you're done with the fifth luck pillar, that when the sixth luck pillar comes, you can just look at this and start following the directions. Now it's 10 years long, so this probably will be different in the beginning from the end. This is more like what you're going to do close to the end of your fifth luck pillar. This is when you really, really write down things. You know how you're going to do it. Now, things may change when you get in the sixth luck pillar. As you start, you may say, well, okay, this didn't work. But you need to have really solid plans. You need to have, like for me, in my luck pillar leading up to this one where I have, for me, it's DW that I needed. I, I, I mean, when I saw Zoom, I knew I could have a business. Up to that point, it was like it's never going to happen. But then I started filling out all the charts that I needed so I can analyze any house quickly, because I knew I needed that. And I basically understood exactly how to do all the purple white charts and how, the patterns that they created, which I was never taught because the person wanted me to buy their very expensive yearly subscription to their software, which is really ridiculous. Uh, but anyway, I got all prepped for that, and that's what this person needs to do, especially near the end of their fifth luck pillar. They have to be ready to start the business even the first day of their sixth luck pillar if they want to. Now, once this person enters his sixth luck pillar, this is the time to start the business. It, I mean, you have to understand how to ramp up a business too. I mean, unless this person is wealthy already, you're going to have to start small and become bigger. Now, it may at the time, I mean, this person is still only 28 years old. He's got 28 years before he reaches 56, but it seems like it's a long time away. It won't be in real life. The busier you are, the faster time flies, and it'll be the sixth luck pillar before you know it. Now, this is really quite important. This is really, really lucky for this guy also. This means that, okay, for everybody, the sixth luck pillar always clashes with the natal month pillar, both in the heaven stem and in the branch. So most people, actually, the sixth luck pillar is quite challenging. But there are things you can look at in your chart that will tell you whether you are going to be one of the lucky ones or one that's going to have a harder time. But if this person gets laid off, all that work they did, every luck pillar, to prepare them for running their own business will help them in their sixth luck pillar if something happens in the business and they get fired or the business just goes belly up. And they're now old enough that they're going to have a much harder time finding a job because they're so old compared to, and they're going to have to start all over again. And there, there is such thing as ageism. It does exist. And it will be much harder for them to find another job. Now, I have a video entitled BaZi and Money, and this is the YouTube link. Now, I will try to remember to put it in the description below the video. If I forget, remind me, and I'll put it in. But this discusses what your sixth luck pillar is going to look like. And in terms of what you have in your chart, whether or not it will be a smooth or very tough luck pillar. And the analysis that comes from here, I just did a very quick look, indicates that this person is actually in pretty good shape. They probably won't lose their job, but if their business becomes good enough, they may quit their job, and that would be fine. This is something that can be considered. So this may actually be a very good luck pillar for him because he's done all the homework to get him into a place where he can run a successful business. So as long as he does the work, he may have a very, very nice sixth luck pillar. Now, this is how to use your luck pillar to its full advantage. And you just simply have to look at what you have in your natal chart and see what skills you can pick up in every luck pillar in various aspects of your life. This will improve your life a lot. But there's work involved. So if you are a person who likes to go home and just watch TV and you need to unwind so that you can get up the next day and work hard, this is going to be very tough. And you still can use it. It just is, you're going to have to spend cut your TV time in half and use that other half to work to improve your skills. And some of this can be done at work, especially with the year and the month pillar. A lot of that stuff happens already at work. So it's not like you're doing a lot of stuff outside. So, you know, I really, really encourage you to understand this and understand what you can pick up and especially if your goal is to have a business of your own. But even if you don't, it's going to improve your chances of having a good life because you're going to have more skills, which usually brings you more money. And although money isn't the beat all end all of life, it makes life much easier. So that's it. I'd like to thank you guys for watching. If you have any questions or comments, you can leave a comment or email me. And I do have some feng shui charts at my coffee store if you need them. And but this is more about BaZi, so you probably don't care. Although this could ultimately help you to decide where to put your home office, because that's probably where you're going to do a lot of this stuff. But I wish all of you guys the best of luck to be able to use your luck pillars and improve your life. Thanks again for watching.